Uh,
Hello, everybody,
Hello,
and
everybody, and
welcome
hello,
to
Kyle. Welcome to
Howdy.
the Two Half Squads.
greatest podcast on the net, dedicated 100% to what game, Kyle?
Advanced Squad Leader Starter Kit.
Yes, this one's gonna
That's
be
right.
more starter kit than other. And oh, we don't even know Kyle's last name. Is it Beach?
It is.
All right. And
So
we've
we're
never
joined by Kyle Beach, which is great. Great to see you, Kyle. Happy New Year and all that stuff, and
You
really
guys
glad
as
you could
well.
join us. Yeah,
Happy New Year.
and we've
yeah.
never just full disclosure, we've never met Kyle before.
No.
We had
So,
an email exchange and said, come on the show. Let's talk about these issues that we're having.
Yeah. So yeah,
nice.
we're glad you could. So where are we calling you, or where are you from? Where are you
Uh,
based?
so I'm in Buffalo, Wyoming, tiny town in northern Wyoming.
No kidding. How is that?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's like
Is it
I always say it's like living in Mayberry.
Cool.
really?
Yes, sir.
And then
Well, yeah,
how?
we'd love to come and visit. Thank you for asking. We'll be
You should. The snow just got here, a
Oh
couple months
yeah.
behind schedule, but it's
Oh
here.
yeah. Yeah, right. It came through. We just got a
fantastic.
dusting here, but
Hmm.
So are you from that area?
No, no, originally from Georgia, but my wife and I have been out west 12, 13 years now. So
Yeah,
yeah, we love it out here.
yeah, I'll bet. I'll bet. We always talk about going west just to see. So
You,
how did that happen? I don't want to divert too much, but how did you end up out there?
uh, well, well, honestly, we left Georgia and we went and worked on the largest alpaca ranch in
oh
North America in
Oh my God.
Colorado. And yeah, then we were hooked to Colorado. And so we were there for like 10 years. We've been here for over 3 years.
That's
cool.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Were
Yeah,
we
you
had
raising alpaca?
raising alpaca.
you are raising
Wow.
alpaca now?
Yeah, we were then. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
then.
You didn't start your own farm then.
No, no. So here we actually run a small 27 room motel. And
Oh,
also we have a taxidermy business. My wife's a taxidermist. So
oh, I like
That is
both those things.
that is so cool. That is really cool.
yeah.
Well, yeah, glad you could join us. And so you wrote us and told us a little about your tell us a little about your ASL experience and
Yeah.
background in gaming.
So yeah, so gaming, I mean, I'm uh I don't know, 10 years old. I started playing like Axis and Allies, all that stuff.
So you're
And
much
then
younger than most of the grog nerds. Yeah.
well, I'm getting up there. I'm 41 now. So
Oh, you're young.
yeah. And then of all things, in my hometown of Georgia, there was a Civil War and World War II store, uniforms, books, whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was 14 and they had a GMT game there called 1863.
Hmm.
And so I bought it and was like, well, this is not Axis and Allies. This is something different. I didn't understand any of it. I got it all wrong, like
Yep.
everybody does at that age.
Yeah.
And then I was in games all the way.
Let's pretend like I'm dumb. I know it's going to be a stretch, but what's so special about 1863?
I,
The
well,
game
it
or the
it
year?
was it was it was well, yeah, the year is very important. But as a game, when you've played stuff like Axis and Allies, which are Axis
Yeah.
and Allies is great, or
Yeah.
Samurai, the old game,
Mm.
that was the first like real war game, charts and tables and movement
Okay.
points and
Yeah.
hexes. Yeah, which I was like, wow, this is much better.
Yeah.
It seems so real after having the other kind of experiences.
Exactly. And honestly, to ASL, so deep into games for years and years. And I knew about ASL, knew about Squad Leader, and you guys were probably 30 episodes in, and I found the show.
Wow.
Oh,
And I think I listened to every episode to about 100. And I was like, that's it. I'm going to get this game.
Oh,
That's
wow.
all it took.
so you were listening before you had the
Yep.
game.
And I would tell my wife, I'm like, you got to hear this game. It's crazy. You're in a ditch and trying to figure out. It just sounds like it covers it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I actually bought Starter Kit 1. took a while, and one day it clicked. I was like, oh, I got it. The color phases of the different information counters and all that stuff.
Yep.
Sorry, my headphones keep popping out. But so then I was into ASL. Then I got really into ASL. Then I owned, as of 2020, I had everything that had been published. Uh, Everything you could get.
Yeah.
Big shelf, big notebook full of scenarios. And my gaming partner at the time was less and less interested in ASL. It's such a commitment.
Yes. Yes.
You're just having these long sessions of reading chapter H. It's like
Yes.
there are other games. And so I decided to sell it.
Yeah.
Sold the whole thing. Actually made a pretty good amount of money on it. Dave, you know that.
Yes.
And yeah, so I was out. I'm done. Moving on. There's other games in the world I'm going to play. And a couple of years goes by, and it's like, I kind of got that ASL itch. It's a beautiful game. Like, just the counters, the look, the maps. It really is really pretty. And it's got such narrative. So I said, you know what? We'll get starter kit again. Well, I'm a very much a completist of systems. So then I got everything available except for the historic module. And then I'm all the way back in again, but this time just starter kit.
Yeah. Which
You're
now,
MMP's favorite kind of customer.
I am.
Yeah. Buy it
Great.
twice.
Great campaigns of the American Civil War, all those.
yeah, mine are over here. Yeah.
Starter kit.
Yeah.
Well, there's the beauty. That's a complete starter kit.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's everything. And
that's doable.
that's very doable. I think there's like 88 scenarios right now in starter kit, including the ones in the magazines and stuff.
It'll keep you busy.
It keep you busy, but if I play till I'm 80, I think I'll get through them one a year.
Yeah.
So back to Georgia, then you had usually one person you gained with. You didn't end up finding like a group of people that would do ASL?
No,
Yeah.
never a group. It was
Yeah.
always, I had one very specific partner, and we played, I don't know, 100 games, maybe more.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
had kind of worked through different people. Once I could find someone, it would be like 50 games with them, and then 150 with the next guy, and then he'd move away, and then we started the Passel Club, which we talked about on the show. I don't know if it was in the first 100 episodes or not, but and that got a whole group, connected, and now I'm back down to one because Jeff and I don't play much, and Mike and I during COVID we did a lot, as you may have heard if you listen to later shows. But then now, I just do Tuesday night with Dave Timonen mostly. Although Mike Lemke's coming after breakfast on Thursday to game Squad Leader.
Which I'll tell you, one of the recent episodes, Dave, you were telling a story. They were putting mines in the rubble and they were hitting and I was like, oh, real ASL, full ASL.
Yeah, the debris in the street and the mine in them. Yeah, and I had to look it up to make sure it was legal. Yeah,
that's only available there.
Okay, so then so with the one friend in Georgia, then when you moved, you guys got into different games.
It was actually in Colorado. I played tons. I lived in Colorado about a decade, and I played tons of ASL there.
Okay, yeah. So now you're out in Wyoming, which is a great town, but not a lot of gamers.
No, I would say there's not really. There's everybody here is a cowboy or a miner. It's kind of the two.
Yeah.
Two things. Cowboys don't have time for games.
So do you play on Vassal or something like that?
No, I'm a solitaire gamer. I play.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I play everything solitaire.
Okay.
But you did try Vassals, but then your issues with that were.
Yeah, and I still have whichever version of Vassal, whichever version of ASL. I feel like that whole thing has gotten kind of messy the last 5-6 years. Where once upon a time there was like just Vassal, now there's a new Vassal with updates to everything, and it just doesn't. I like board games. I like paper, tweezers.
Right.
Yeah, we do
too. So do you think about getting back into full ASL? buy the rule book and make the
Yeah,
plunge?
about every 6 months on Board Game Geek, on the Geek, I'll start putting modules back in my want and trade list.
Yeah.
I'll do a lot of trading on the Geek, and it'll sit there for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'll think, what am I doing? I'm not doing this. And honestly, if you play solitaire, full ASL doesn't really solitaire that well with all the concealment counters and hidden mines and hidden units. It doesn't translate well. But starter kit is fantastic by yourself.
But before you did the solo starter kit, you did try the solitaire ASL game
I actually
also?
had the module, yeah. And there's another, there's a Minden Games did a little squad leader book. It's like, if you own squad leader and don't want to play with the rules,
Oh,
here's a new rule set.
I think we
Oh,
covered that on the show somewhere.
yeah, that's, yeah, I'm
And
ringing
and
a bell.
and that has a solitaire module also. And for I thought it was better than ASL solitaire.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's so simple. It's that whole system is even simpler than starter kit, really. It's really simple,
Yeah.
but
But
it's
and
good. You get good stories.
yeah, and that's a big part of it, of course. And so then when you played the regular solitaire, which I had played maybe a dozen times,
Yeah,
and I'm not, and like you, Jeff and I like physical more than Vassal.
yeah,
And then I like a person to talk to across the table too. But
yeah.
so playing the solitaire, I'm like, I don't need to. So
Hmm.
And that module is it's interesting what they're doing. It's the last thing ASL needed, which is like another layer of rules and another book to have to check. And yeah, some people probably enjoy it. It's just not for me.
okay, more reasons you didn't like it then, since you are still playing solitaire.
Yeah, but I mean, I play solitaire as in, uh, uh, best available move, play both sides,
Mhm. Yeah,
and and with starter kit, there's nothing really hidden. And the Pacific module, there's concealment counters, but there's not really hidden units and you know minefields and stuff like that. It's just
Right.
yeah,
whichever side's up, do the best. What I tend to do, most scenarios are just pretty straightforward: attacker, defender, and I set up. Usually defender sets up first. I set it up. What looks like a good defense. I take the attacker. I come up with some play. Okay, we'll try two pincers, and then just play it out. See how it goes. It's
and
So,
you don't cheat on your dice rolls against yourself
I've
because
never. I know a lot of guys do that, or a lot of guys will like back the turn up. They're
oh
like,
yeah,
oh, okay, I
yeah.
don't like how this turned out. Let's undo. No, no, no. Finish it, and then I'll re-rack it if I'm that interested in it. Let's set it up instead of the sides. Let's go up the gut and see what happens.
yeah, yeah,
So you're not playing with a published rule set,
No, no,
solitaire
just
rule set.
yeah,
You're just
just
playing both sides.
yeah. It's
play
just
both
the
sides.
regular rules, and I know one time I did play a scenario both sides. Yeah, just to kind of see what it would be like, and I felt it was, um, I think with enough gaming experience, I found it easy for me to slip back into the defender and then back into the attacker and try to win with both sides. I mean, someone once asked me like, "How does that work in your brain?" I'm like, I don't know. It seemed logical. I'm going to
Well,
skulk and then go over
yeah,
there,
you
try
just
and
do the thing you would do if you were the attacker or the defender at the time. The
Yeah.
the only game I find I can't solitaire is chess because you're thinking a few moves out and then the moves a few moves out. It doesn't. But with ASL,
oh
you're generally not thinking, oh, I'm going to do this because in 4 turns, I that's not ASL. There's too many dice rolls, and
well,
Yeah. It's
certainly
certainly
not the
not the
way
way. Yeah. That's
Jeff and
not the
I.
way I play. Yeah. I know other players do,
I
but
think Bob Bendis and those guys do that,
yeah.
oh,
but
sure, the tournament guys surely, but not
Yeah.
me.
yeah. And if an incident happens where like so you end up getting lucky and breaking a whole flank area, suddenly there's an opportunity to encircle, which
Exactly.
you didn't plan necessarily
Yeah.
on, but then you would take advantage of that
Yeah. You
because it
get around, you start getting all those eliminations on failure to route, all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's
And so do
yeah.
you set up the game and then how long do you play? Like, do you just play a turn or two or just as time allows, or do you actually block off a couple of hours to play through a scenario?
No, you nailed it. A turn or two, especially with running a motel. So I'll set it up there. We have a house at the motel and we have our house over here. But so I'm a very particular organized kind of gamer.
Mm,
So I have like a small picture frame that the map will fit in, a turn sequence where I can track where I am in the turn sequence, and then like the scenario sheet. Set it up. Usually, like I'll set it up and I'm good, and then I'll come back to it maybe in the morning, do a turn or two as the day gets going, and then because I'm tracking where I am in the turn sequence, I can walk away at any moment and
right.
then just jump back in, finish this turn. And so like your average starter kit scenario might be on my table for 2 days, something like that.
Yeah.
They go
Okay.
pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're
Is
not.
there a line on the registration when people come in to check in? Like, do you play ASL?
Well, I often try to guide the conversation in such a way.
Yeah, of course. I would too. You never know.
Oh, really? World War II? That's interesting. There's a lot of interesting board games. You ever played? Oh, no. Okay. Well,
Yeah. No, I'm a cowboy. Yeah.
exactly.
And then do you try to flip the sides? Because you're saying 80 scenarios would take you a long time to play. Do you flip sides and then play it, well, wait, you're playing both sides. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
play
a
both.
bad,
that's
that's
right.
a bad
So,
question.
but what will happen sometimes is I'll finish a scenario and just be like, that was really interesting, but I'm dying to know what would happen if the defense had set up further back or
Right.
Yes.
Right.
and so I'll rack it over, just set it back up, try it again.
Yeah. And then you probably do find that they work better one way or the other, you think?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Because when I was watching Bendis and Rich Summers play at not Gen Con, at Aslock, um, Bob was talking about, I think that we played a short clip of that on one of the shows recently, about like, well, this is a fallback scenario.
Mm,
So
yeah.
if you're going to try to defend up front, the Americans are going to get like lose their front forces and get surrounded and captured before the reinforcements even get a chance to assist them. And then, so he could tell. And
Yeah.
that's something probably I would have to play it out, figure that out. Oh, I shouldn't be standing up here in the front. There's not enough to defend every avenue, and I'm going to get surrounded. And
This is why you should start doing a solo play on all games that you play with someone else first. Just 2 or 3 times before they come over.
Yeah.
well, and guys do that for tournaments.
I'm sure. I mean, the
Those
tournament
competitors,
world is,
the competitors, yeah,
yeah, that's a whole different thing.
yeah. Have you gone to tournaments too, or
No, no,
and none of
I,
the convention stuff, or
no, no. I just listened to you go to
yeah,
convention and I'm like, yeah, I have no business being
yeah, and I don't as it you hear we just like to record.
there.
We don't like to game anymore. Well, right, Jeff, we would play a game, the two of us
Yes.
record interviews, then go back and play a
Yes.
few turns, record interviews. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And not even stay
Yes.
the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to really feel bad about it because when I first got into gaming, I thought it was all about tournaments and stuff. And I just thought, it's never really my thing. And so I remember when we our first interview with the guys from Broken Ground Design, the guy, suddenly can't remember his name,
In Canada.
but he said that he plays solo all the time,
That's
doesn't
right.
play with anybody else. And I thought this is fantastic because everybody gets to play play the way they want to play. So Kyle, I think you're probably we probably have a lot of listeners that really
Oh,
appreciate the fact that you just play on your own.
I'm sure. I mean, and not at this point, 98% of my gaming for all I'm a systems guy. I like to get a system of a game, get
Yeah.
everything in that set. And in my old age, it reduces the amount of rule books I have to read. Just if I can read one rule book and play 6 games, all the better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, just I think a lot of gamers, maybe most gamers, or war gamers, probably play solo. Um,
Yeah.
at least, some of the time, most of the time.
Do you do the same with your Civil War games and that stuff?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything, just just me. Uh, so like my wife's actually a pretty serious gamer, but she likes, I don't know, different stuff like Labyrinth. She's crazy about Labyrinth. Um, Ancient Empires. What is that game? Whatever, the new GMT Ancient Empires game,
Yeah,
Hmm,
okay.
okay.
which it's a ton of fun, but it's a little lighter. It's kind of vicious. It's a lot about playing cards to just destroy the other person.
Yeah, and then you guys do game together.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and
How big is your hotel, the motel? 27 rooms?
27 rooms.
We could actually, Dave, we could hold a tournament.
We should.
It's true.
Well, I was going to ask so more about the hotel. It's a motel or hotel.
It's a motel, so it's a
Yeah.
Your
motor hotel. You
your
park
car
at your
sits in
door.
front. Yeah,
Yep.
which for security reasons, some people think they're more scary. But um, so and then who comes through town?
So
Family.
so we're halfway between Mount Rushmore and Yellowstone, and so
Oh,
we're the stop point during the summer where people stop here.
yeah.
Um, and then we sit at the foot of the Bighorn Mountains, so you get a lot of people out from the mountains. Of course, hunting season is really big here, and so and then we get workers like highway workers, stuff like that.
Is a
Oh
train
yeah.
stop anywhere close by?
No, no trains here.
No trains. Okay.
No
Dave, we
trains.
got to drive it.
You
Yeah.
gotta you gotta drive out.
Well, my family had done, we'll do a little banter too now, I suppose. We just did Zion. Did I talk about that
Mhm.
on the air?
I think you did. I know a few years ago you did Yellowstone, right?
Yes, yes, yeah, we did
Yeah.
Yellowstone. And so Laura got us a 5 day weekend. My wife's an excellent planner of these things. Um, and then yeah, we hit flew into Vegas. Yeah, didn't do the city, Death
Good
Valley
move.
1 day, and then 3 days in Zion, the northern thing and the southern thing. So the idea of actually coming out there, even though we did Yellowstone before, I think her brother wants
Yeah.
to do it again. Um,
Yellowstone's amazing. I mean, it's everybody should see it.
yeah, they really should. It's
So,
so
Jeff, have you seen it?
I saw it in 1964.
Yeah, it's the same. It hasn't changed.
Yeah.
but yeah, the
Yeah, we
Jeep.
did the whole thing, Old Faithful. We did some fishing on Lake Yellowstone and all that stuff. But yeah, it's been, is that 60 years? Wait a minute. Yeah.
See, that makes you 120.
Yeah, I think so. That's what it's feeling like.
So you were pretty young then.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
That was a heck of a road trip. But yeah, we did Mount Rushmore and the whole
You may
thing.
have come right through here.
I may have. Yeah, it's possible. So who knew? Who knew?
And then the mountains by you are which
The
ones?
the Bighorn Mountains.
Can people hike it and stuff too?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's this time of year it's a little rough, but yeah, it's full of people during the summer.
Okay. Well, that could be a destination too.
Oh yeah. I mean it's a
Think
huge, it's actually the most actively managed national forest. So they do the most clearing and adding meadows and stuff of any national forest in the system. So
oh, okay.
it's spectacular. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, well, I'm planning Kansas City. I don't think Jeff, you're not gonna make that, right? Laura's going with me. We have a friend we're gonna stay with.
Yeah, probably not.
Her friend, well, our friend, a woman who doesn't play squad leader. We're not gonna go stay with a squad leader player.
I haven't been to Kansas City since 1957.
How do you remember
I was born in
you?
Kansas City.
That's right. Jeff was born there.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't grow up there or anything.
No,
Yeah.
the rest of my family's from
Okay.
Montana, but I was born in Kansas City.
Really? Montana?
Yeah.
What part?
Glasgow,
Oh, way up on the High Line. Yeah.
way up on the Milk River.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the farthest town from no from anywhere in the United States or something. They have some dubious honor like that.
Yeah, it's way up there. I've been up there.
Farthest
It's
place from where-
a lot of prairie,
So, yeah,
long
so
ways from the mountains.
I need to get back there. But back to ASL, I was wondering about when you're playing solo. So you've done your own solo thing, but how do you have to adjust for that? Like, do you have house rules on things you have to do,
So,
or
well, the
how
the
do you
only
keep?
mo the only modification I've made to the rules was actually I missed heat of battle. I thought heat of battle was it's a great thing, and it's just not there. There is a rule if you roll snake eyes on a
Yeah.
rally, you get a leader, but that's not really heat of battle. So I printed off the Spilkey chart for the heat of battle, and so I brought it back into the game. It should be there.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I play the rules straightforward, and I just play the best available move for whoever the active player is. So
Oh, okay.
sometimes it's like, oh, I want to move out across this open space. Well, I'm gonna get hammered with some 16 neg 2. Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens. And it's a 2 KIA, everybody's dead. All right.
And if you're rolling particularly poorly, do you just give up and say, "Oh, screw it, and not play," or do you
No,
play? Do you make yourself play all
I,
the way through?
I'll play it just like you would opposed. I'll play it till there's sometimes it's obvious. I actually was
Yeah.
playing a scenario last night, and with the turn to go, like every Russian unit was broken. And it's like, okay, this is over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you know how to keep the pressure on them when they're broken.
Yep.
So if you
Yeah.
didn't, then you might not even realize it was over yet.
But I mean, even with starter kit, it's still the beauty of ASL is that like, I was playing a scenario. I played 3 scenarios this week, and I was playing one, and I just got like a heat of battle, and I got a battle hardening, and then I got a hero create, and a side that was clearly out of the game. One turn later was like, oh, they're just going to win now. So with ASL, there's that thing. You take the personal morale check, you keep playing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you get some wild dice rolls, and the game's back on.
Yeah. No, it can turn. That is very true. And I think part of when they turn on me, it's partly because I kind of forget they can turn and you start counting your eggs before they hatch. Well, with this
Mm-hmm.
machine
Yeah.
gun here,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
not going to cross the road. And then with my, other thing here, this is should be secure. So all I
Yeah.
got to do is move down here and I'll secure this. And then this I should win this. And then that machine gun breaks. And then the guy coming this way makes the morale checks. And you're like,
Yep.
how'd
And
you
then it's
roll
over.
three threes in a row, man? I thought I had
ASL's
this.
ASL's a strange game. I found that when I play opposed, I spend a lot of time trying to tell my opponent, like, it's not over. You could still be winning. Like, keep the morale up. Just wait.
Yeah, that's so true. Um, and then now with the smaller games, like, well, what are the biggest ones in the system for starter kit?
And
I stopped
so,
after.
yeah, there is a historic module. Again, I'm not. It's a full map.
Yeah, yeah,
But with the regular games, about a 2 mapper is probably about it.
and
Hmm.
like
That would,
20 counters or
yeah, that
not.
would that would be a good. There's a few in the whatever they call them, the ASL, the bonus kits they do
Yeah.
Yeah.
that are probably 30, 40 units, bunch of
Oh, okay.
tanks and
Okay, now, yeah.
yeah,
So those help again, as they say, the smaller the scenario, the more dicey.
sure.
So, but because I
Which
remember the starter kits were all pretty short to get it started through 1 and 2.
yeah. Which honestly, it was one of the problems I had with ASL is you have trouble finding with full ASL, that hour and a half scenario. Like you can just sit down and like knock a scenario out.
Mm-hmm.
Everything,
Mm-hmm.
everything is going to be the 6 hour slog
Yeah.
that sometimes you don't want that. A lot of times,
A lot
I,
of
I would
times.
argue most of the time, a little
Yes.
quick scenario, even if you play 2 small scenarios in a night opposed, that's actually more fun than one big. Oh wait, can this gun turn? The weather is muddy and this tank. Oh,
Yeah.
just give me a bunch of infantry. Let's go.
Yeah. Concrete in the plain terrain, no
Mm-hmm.
special weathers, and um, yeah. Then there's the
Dan, do you
question.
play? Do you play with two sets of dice?
I
Oh,
do.
in case
Here,
one gets, in
here.
case,
Let me grab my
yeah,
special dice.
yeah, yeah. Kyle's now
So,
grabbing his special dice
uh, beautiful thing about starter kit. This is all of the information counters
in
for the whole
one.
system.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is going to be insane. I'm aware of it. So let's say I'm playing a German Russian scenario, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes,
I've
I
got the German
see.
Russian die.
For you
Right.
listeners, he's got the die with the national symbol, the
Yeah.
star
Yeah.
and the
The Russian
iron
star and the,
iron
And
cross.
so on the scenario sheet, whoever the active player is in that turn, I'll have their die sitting there. So I'll be rolling that turn with the other die. And then I've got two red die, two of these little guys. One of these is used to track the phase I'm on, and the other I'm rolling for the turn. Now, here's where I'm insane is when I finish a turn, I'll take the one off of the turn phase tracker and
right.
switch it for the other red
Oh,
die, and then switch out the German, for the Soviet,
symbol
whatever.
for yeah.
And so I'm always playing with four dice, but there's a lot of moving around.
Yeah, it's not too
And
It's
crazy.
fascinating.
that's
There's,
just
you can probably find help for that, Kyle, for your condition.
well, I'm also one of these guys that has a big jar of corners I've clipped over 30 years.
Oh, a jar?
Oh, a big giant jar just packed full of clipped corners.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands of corners.
Yeah.
Is
Oh,
that so
cool.
you can like be reminded of how much
I
effort you've put into it or what?
I don't know. I sit and I'll clip into a box lid and then I'll dump them in the jar and I've done that forever.
Yeah, why would you know Jeff's a box burner, so he'll probably burn the clippings too. He can't trust him with anything.
Oh
I've
no.
reformed now, Dave. I've reformed.
So that's one of the things with starter kit. You see the boxes there.
Yeah.
In the starter kit one box, I have all the scenario sheets and all the rule books and charts. And then in the box two, I have all the maps. And then in three and four, I have the GMT game trays, and it has all the unit counters.
Wow.
So that little stack there is
Is
everything.
yeah. There's
That's
some
really, that's very admirable in a lot of ways because I think, if ever there's the zombie apocalypse, which is coming, you
Sure.
can pack up your ASL and your to-go kit and be
That's
ready
it.
to go within a
Grab
few
it.
minutes.
Those nights out in the rubble will just be rolling
Yeah,
dice.
exactly. Right.
I'll be making trip after trip, down to the basement,
Yeah, Dave.
Oh,
loading
Yes,
stuff.
Dave.
these boxes when I had full ASL, I don't know, I
Yeah.
had 20 just for the units.
Well,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
that's
Look at Dave's. Look
that's
at Dave's.
mine. And I'm not
That's
Yep.
usually at this angle for viewers. They see this
Yeah.
other side. But I switched it up because Jeff's at home. And yeah, that's just one set of the counters. Then I have the broken ground design and the smaller counters I made during COVID. So we have the double set, especially back when we had the club going.
Mm,
And it's a lot. And then the new stuff. And then you're like, I'm starting to get to the point where I don't punch everything right away and file it
yeah.
all. I'm kind of like, I might die soon, so I won't bother
Oh,
punching.
come on. Stop it.
Well, it's possible for any of us
Well,
to.
I mean, yeah, but to your family, they won't care if it's punched or unpunched. So go
Right.
ahead and
No.
punch it. Go ahead and
Yeah.
clip it.
Yeah. Um, and then yeah, this issue of getting rid of all the stuff then too at
Yeah.
some point when I go. I think that this came up this morning. I had lunch with retired lady teachers who don't game. And they turned the conversation to our elderly parents who are
Mhm.
passing away or going into retirement homes and such, what to do with all this stuff. So that everyone was sharing like tips and things on that. And then I said, well, you guys know I game and they all know me very well. And Jeff's slowly
Jeff,
moving up his play. He's getting ready for the zombie
don't
apocalypse.
fall.
There he goes. Yeah, don't
I'm going
That's
to send this stuff to Kyle when I go.
so
oh, thank you.
so that's what I was telling the ladies. I said, I know that the local game store, I think they'll come in to your game room and I think they haul everything out.
Oh,
Mm,
really?
Games Plus. Well, at least I know they have the auction. Remember, Jeff? I went to the
Yeah.
auction
Yeah.
of past fellow gamers
Oh,
stuff.
that's right.
And the two
That's right.
wives were there and they had two estate sales, but it was just the wargaming.
mm.
So
That's nice. I mean,
yeah.
honestly, I've had my collection. I used to have, I don't know, 400 or 500 games, big room full of games.
Wow, that's
Whoa.
like Mike, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I reduced it down to a bookshelf and a half put away. But I've had those talks with my wife, like, hey, I fall over tomorrow. You need to understand how to go on Board Game Geek and sell this stuff. Like,
No,
Yeah.
call Jeff and Dave.
yep, call Jeff and Dave, and they'll just
They'll
take it
head right up.
fair price.
We'll take care of you. We'll take care of your family, Kyle.
Well, and yeah, and again, some of it's valuable. So,
That's true.
Yeah.
and the woman at breakfast was talking about her parents collected Asian stuff. They were world travelers. Like they were gone a lot of her life in foreign countries. And she's like, there's beautiful stuff. She's got it all when her mom passed in the basement. And I was kind of saying, isn't there a person like a fellow gamer for me who would come over and be able to take it all and sell it themselves and give the spouse a cut or the kids a cut or whatever? But
Yeah, I'm ready to go anytime, Dave.
so she's got to find a art dealer. And she said some of the stuff's like $12,000 for some kind of urn. She was using the language for the stuff I didn't even understand. You know, specific art style and time period and whatnot. But
yeah, it's one of the with our other business, we have a taxidermy business, and it's a pretty common thing. A guy spends 50 years getting mounts done, and each one is really important to him.
Yeah, and I think they would be cool, but I can't put them all in my house.
Yeah, and then it's like he's gone, and nobody remembers why those things are so special. That was his story. It was his thing.
Yes,
and then his family is left with a room full of deer and buffalo, and they call us, they call around, like, what do we do with these? It's like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, there's not a big market.
There's not a market for it. They're, like I said, they're so personal.
Yeah, and not everybody likes them.
Yeah, and so one place we always recommend is check with restaurants. A lot of restaurants will take it off your hands at least. Yeah,
and put it on the menu. No. Oh, you mean? Oh, I know. Oh,
yeah, they'll hang it up as decor or something. But
yeah, okay.
He's kidding. Like at the pizza places, Jeff. There in Elgin, there's a couple that have bison head up and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah,
I like it. My experience with that was we worked a school week. You had to go for the week outdoor education with the kids, and in the dumpster somehow we happened upon a baby bear taxidermy standing like this.
Yeah,
and he was kind of broken in one spot, and I told my friend, I was like, I'm taking this bear. I'm like, why would they throw this out? It is so, because I love animals, I love stuffed things, and I'm a Bears fan, and I'm like, I gotta take this bear home. So I had that thing in our apartment just for probably for like 8 years. I think my wife made me get rid of it when we got married.
Yeah,
Loved it.
Doing some dumpster diving, huh?
Yeah, it was. I forget how we saw it, but I'm like, I gotta take that home. So she does that.
I'm thinking maybe, Dave, maybe I'll have you taxidermied.
Yeah, you should. You should
take you out to Kyle, have you done up nice. I'll take your games. So you're good. You're covered.
Yeah, and then your wife could have you sitting around the house for
that's right
8 years until she gets tired of it.
And then your wife got into that. Can I ask how? Off gaming conversation. Did her family do it or
no? Actually, I was working for a taxidermist.
Oh, okay.
Just like skinning and stuff. And he was like, "Hey, I should teach you how to do this." He was getting older. He's like, "I'll give you the business."
Oh.
And it's actually a very artistic skill set.
Yeah. The posing and everything, that's all up to the person, right?
Yeah, and the shape, all the little eyes and the musculature. Yeah, I can't do any of that. I can't draw a square. And so after I don't know, 6 months of failing at it, I was like, hey, my wife Betsy, she's pretty artistic. She's interested. A lot of hemming and hawing, like, I guess we'll give it a whirl. And now, here we are. She's won awards.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, because really you're sculpting like I don't know what's inside, but you're sculpting the form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
it's called a form. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if it's just like, sculpting the things I've done over here.
Exactly.
And then, Yeah, so the skin just sits on it, right?
Hmm.
So
So it's foam and clay and just shaping it all up, building the
and
muscles back. And
didn't it used to be done with something poisonous or something? Arsenic in
a
it,
lot of
or
the old stuff was what they call wood wool, like that wood shaving stuff, and they'd wrap it up with twine to make shapes. And
I think that's what my bear was because it did
oh
start to
yeah,
get messy. Yeah,
yeah.
maybe that's why they threw it out. But but yeah. And then I loved going to the Field Museum in Chicago. They had
Oh yeah,
all the animals, stuff. And then you realize how big a moose is. When you're a little kid, you're like, holy crap, my little toy moose, that thing is like big and
moose.
scary.
People don't. So where I live, we have a ton of moose, and yeah, all the time the tourists come in and they're just like, it was like a dragon. It was huge. It's like, yeah, it was a moose. It's like it was bigger than my truck. It's like, yeah, it's a moose.
Wow.
They're big.
We had some fishermen this year that came in and they're like, we were fishing, it was going great. And a bunch of moose come in and run us off. It's like, well, that's their spot.
Yeah, that's right.
Fantastic. Well, so to start to wrap it up, I guess.
Is there anything new coming out? Do we know? I should know this. Is there
We
anything new
don't.
coming out for Starter Kit?
Yeah.
Or have they?
So I'm trying to think back to MMP's last stuff. There was some talk about another historic module,
Oh, okay.
and I'm sure they'll do some more of those scenario expansion
Yeah,
packs. But honestly, please don't. Like we're good. 80, 90 scenarios, that's plenty.
yeah.
That's what I like. And that is the main focus of this interview and why you contacted us when we made a comment
Mhm.
about something about probably derogatory about starter kit or something.
Oh, I'm
And then
sure it wasn't.
you said what we talked about on the show, and that was like, well, look, this guy Kyle, he sounds like he could really defend
Oh yeah.
convincingly the reason to play starter
And,
kit and
and
to not worry about having an opponent.
well, and I'll say, like, if you live in a place where you got a group or you got people and you got time, play full ASL. It's fantastic. But if you have more of a, let's call it a normal life,
Yeah,
starter kit can kind of fit in the holes, a few gaps. Hey, I've got 20 minutes. You can do 2 turns of a starter kit scenario by yourself, and you get 80% of the ASL experience at 20% of the effort.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we should have
that's a
asked that.
very
What
good.
is
Yeah,
the
really, that's a very good point. And you
80%?
still have time to play other games if you're interested in Civil War or
Yeah,
whatever the case may be. You don't feel like you have to devote every moment like ASL can be very
it's very consuming.
all encompassing. Yeah,
Well,
very
I mean,
consuming.
everyone's always said that it's like ASL is one of those I play one game games.
Yeah,
That's my game. I play
Mhm.
ASL, and that's great if you enjoy it, whatever. But
yeah.
there's a lot of good games out there. I mean,
Yeah,
this last 10 years in board gaming has been crazy with the amount of stuff that's come out, interesting new systems, and different topics.
yep. Graphics are all amazing.
Yeah, but I do own some other World War II tactical systems, and they have the modern flashy graphics, and the trees look like trees, and the houses. And I don't know, it feels cartoony. ASL, it's that
Mm,
right amount of like art and
Mm.
function
Hmm.
mm.
where I don't need every blade of grass on the map. It's okay. It's just green. It's
Yeah,
representative.
I think I get what you're
Okay.
saying. Yeah, realistic is not necessarily the right thing for a board game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a game. I don't think anybody plays an ASL scenario and then believes that they've been in World War II combat. Like it's yeah,
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's what we'll leave everybody with. If you are
outstanding.
getting into it, to do it and enjoy it. And it is still 80%. And as you mentioned several times, Kyle, the narrative portion is there.
Oh yeah. And for me, gaming, the narrative, especially if you play solo, the narrative is where it's at. It's I think of board games a lot of times as they're like tiny models that move.
Mm.
So like if somebody built this beautiful diorama of a Civil War battle or a World War II battle, and somehow it could move that's all the better. And if somehow you could be like, go over there, don't do that, stop there. Well, this is the coolest model in the world, and that's what board games are, or
Hmm.
at least
Yeah.
certain types of board games.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. And the same concepts carry over, of course, into our historical miniature gaming.
Yeah, of course.
That's my Frostgrave table over there.
Is that 4x8?
That is, it's
Wow.
big. Yeah, yeah. It's got the side desks and everything. So we love the space. But yeah, that's what I like. Well, that's not a war game, but I've got plenty of the 15 millimeter armies and stuff, and have played a lot of those games too.
Sure,
It's like
sure can be.
just a blown up board game.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
rules. In fact, I remember John Hill wrote Johnny Reb
Hmm.
rules for the Civil War 15 millimeter game.
Yeah. I have at one point bought some 10 millimeter miniatures,
Mm. Hmm.
Cracker Line, American Civil War miniatures, and I
Hmm.
painted about 4 of them, and then I threw them away. It's like,
Yeah,
I'm going to go play a board game. This is crazy. What am I
right.
doing?
It's a whole nother, see, that's a whole
Yeah.
nother
It's a hobby in
lifetime.
the hobby.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah,
Right. And I think
exactly.
I mentioned years ago on the show, I read it in an article in like, some wargaming article magazine. But for the miniatures, there's guys who like the painting,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and they will paint and not necessarily game, and they'll be okay. you
Yeah.
know, Look at this unit I painted. How often do you play with that? No, not often. Guys who like the historical aspect of it. So if you painted it with the wrong colors on the cuffs of the Austerlitz troops that weren't there yet, but you missed it by a month, they'll get on your case.
Perfect.
And and then there's the guys who like the rules, and they will even play with unpainted miniatures, which is a heresy to painters.
Yeah. Or
You
paper miniatures.
no, you can't use paper cutouts. That's horrible. And I'm kind of that guy because when I go to the conventions, and see I'm like, well, yeah, you got paper cutouts, but I would never say anything, of course. And they're having just as much of a fun time.
Exactly.
So, what was the fourth
That's the
type?
key. That's the
And
key.
then I think there's the analysts who demand a good set of rules,
Mm.
you know. Whereas when I started, I would play any set of rules, even if they would be considered simple or unrealistic. I didn't know better.
Sure.
I'm throwing dice and guys are breaking and running around, and but you get the guys who are like, really into. I think Tom Barkalow was that kind of guy. He's been on the show a lot, and he wrote his own set of Civil War rules. And that was for him. Yeah, let's capture the history and as realistic of a set of rules that we can get. And
Yeah.
I know people have had that conversation about ASL all the time too.
Oh, sure, sure. It's well, a board game really at its best can capture an aspect of a given conflict, but it can't do everything. And so like where ASL concentrates on like morale and the importance of morale, and yeah, well, they get the range on the anti-tank guns wrong. It's like, yeah, but that's not really what the game's trying to do. But there are other systems that'll get that right. They'll focus on that. Dean Essig, famously the designer for the gamers, he did like the Civil War Brigade and the Line of Battle that are focused on writing paper orders. You actually
Right.
write out orders, and it's focused on that. And it's like, well, maybe the scale per hex isn't. Yeah, but that's not what it's focused on. It's a game can only do one or two things well.
Yeah, otherwise it can
Yeah.
just become unwieldy.
Then it becomes full ASL.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
So, all right then. Anything else you'd like to add, Kyle?
No, guys, great to meet you. Great to see you.
Very good to
Nice
see
to meet you as well.
This is
Very
always
nice.
Yeah, so
super super fun.
we'll see you at the motel this summer.
That's a thing. It might be a couple
That would
years
be
though.
awesome. That would be awesome. You never know.
Helps
So
me
All
yeah,
out
right,
big
then
time.
we'll say to everybody to thank you for listening and hope you'll be with us next time and see what else kind of crazy, fun stuff we got coming up.
I think
We got some more interviews and stuff coming, Dave.
Brett Hildebrand is coming up next show. Should be.
Oh, okay, Brett Hildebrand.
Mhm.
Great, great. And if anybody else would like to be on the show, I can't imagine somebody as entertaining as Kyle, but you never know. Thanks again, Kyle. And
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yep.
tell everybody to roll low,
and rally well, but not
Not
when
when
you're
Not
we're
when you're
playing
playing us.
us. All
That's
right.
right.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Hasta luego.
Thanks, Scott.